Right, right, right. One thing I wanted to kind of get into because I know, yeah, it's good that we're talking about all this. But I wanted to you sent me this article.
Oh right, yeah. Let me touch on this nonsense.
Okay, I'll pull it up here. Unless do you want to pull it up on yours?
No, you could pull it up there,
Let's
man.
see here. So BBC Hither Green.
Yeah, Hither Green is the area. So basically, the long and short of this story is that a pensioner, a guy of 78,
Richard Osborne Brooks.
that's him. Uh, Two gentlemen broke into his house and basically held him at gunpoint. Well, not gunpoint, at screwdriver point. Screwdriver to basically burgle his house and stuff like that. And a struggle ensued, and he managed to get a hold of the screwdriver from one of the assailants, and he ended up stabbing him with it. The other assailant ran. He called the police. The police came, and the guy that he stabbed ended up dying.
Ooh.
And as a result of that, the police came back and arrested him for murder.
Oh, jeez.
Right. And this goes back to this whole question about we don't have self-defense laws in the UK. Right. And to give you an idea of how crazy this whole thing is, right? Any object that you have in your possession with the intent to cause harm to another human being is considered an assault weapon, and it's illegal. That could be a knife, that could be a gun, that could be a lamp.
At least they understand the folly of calling something an assault whatever.
Right.
Because, you know, the whole assault rifle thing in the US, it's like, that's such a dumb thing because it's not a proper term.
Correct.
At least the UK understand if something's being used in an assault, it is an assault, whatever.
It's an assault weapon, right? So, and to make the distinction about what I'm talking about, right? Like if it is that you have a bat, like, you know, a baseball bat, and you just happen to keep it by your bed for protection, right? You know, just in case, you don't know. That's technically an assault weapon, means that you have intentionally bought this item for the purpose to do harm to other people. That's illegal, and you'll be arrested.
Oh, jeez.
But if you say the same bat is in your house, and let's say a burglar breaks into your house, and you use the bat against the burglar, and they ask you why why did you have the bat by your bed? You have to say, if you want to get off on self-defense, you have to say you bought it because you like baseball. You cannot say you bought it because you want to defend yourself, because that automatically makes it an assault weapon.
Jeez.
That is so self-defense in the UK. And I just learned this. I might actually do a full-on video on this, or I might take this clip out, right? Self-defense in the UK has to be, you have to use reasonable force against your intruder.
Which is subjective.
It is subjective. So if he comes in unarmed and you pull a weapon, that's greater force. Any kind of mechanical advantage is greater force. So if they come in unarmed, you have to fight them unarmed, right? If they come in with a weapon, you have to basically show an equivalent amount of force. You cannot have excessive force, right? There has to be no other choice, right? So the jury will basically ask you, could you have run to avoid the confrontation? So you basically have to say there was no choice. They were blocking me in. I felt imminent danger. Now, contrary to what people believe, you don't actually have to be attacked. But if you feel threatened enough, there has to be significant evidence of threat for you to lash out in some kind of self-defense activity. And again, whatever you use in this scenario, it cannot be for the intent of bodily harm to another human being.
Wait. Couldn't that then go in so many different wrong directions? Because it could justify unjust violence while also delegitimizing legitimate need of force.
There is none. This is my point. Self-defense is illegal.
But I'm saying what I'm getting at is because you were saying imminent danger. If you feel imminent danger, what if you're just triggered and you say you feel imminent danger to act out? And then on the other end, where you felt illegitimate danger and you acted out, but they said you were excessive. See what I'm saying?
Right, then you get arrested. Yeah, exactly. If you were excessive. So, for instance, right, just to give an example, somebody
Like
breaks
if I was
into
carrying a gun, let's just say hypothetically, I was carrying a gun, no
Right.
intention to do anything, but I'm walking, somewhere,
right,
and someone just came up with a baseball bat and knocked me down and beat
Right.
me within an inch of my life. The
right,
court would probably say that person is in the right because I had the advantage, and that person felt imminent danger and just beat me when I actually had no intention to harm them. And then on the other end, where I have a baseball bat and the guy comes in unarmed, and I beat him because he's threatening to steal my stuff,
yeah,
I'm in the wrong.
correct.
See what I'm getting at? Where it
Yeah.
can get flipped.
Yeah, in your first scenario, it has to be a little more complicated than you just walking down the road with a gun, though. So in that scenario, because that technically they are actually assaulting.
But then
you.
here's another thing too. Maybe I'm a neighbor.
Yeah.
And I hear a disturbance next door.
Right.
I get my gun and go and
Right.
help you. But
Right.
then it's through the commotion, you beat me up.
Right.
And now I'm in trouble for trying to help you.
Yeah.
Maybe
yeah.
later on you do say, "Oh crap," but then the jury would say, "Wait, definitions."
Correct. And that is why this type of legislation, because there is no self-defense,
Right.
real self-defense law. You actually don't have the right to defend yourself. So as I say, in order to get off on self-defense, you have to have all of that criteria. Can't be excessive force, imminent threat, unavoidable, and if there's any kind of mechanical advantage that you have, right, you increase your likelihood of prosecution. So if there's a gun involved, you could be charged. Legal gun, if it's illegal, you'll probably be locked up for sure.
Right.
And again, some of it is subjective. Like, so we've seen cases where people have broken into homes in the countryside, which is, outside the cities and stuff like that, where hunting rifles and stuff like that are quite common, right? So a guy gets shot in a house in the country, the police kind of say, well, you took the risk of going into the house in the country, which is probably armed. You kind of look for your own stupidness. But then if you do that, if the same thing happens in the city, so a guy breaks into a house in the city and the guy has a registered legal firearm and they get shot, it's a different outcome because that's not presupposed in the city. Jeez. The exact same crime, but totally subjectively interpreted. And this is the state of the self-defense laws in the UK.
And it's the jury or the court that decides sort of the context and the
if it's murder, if the person gets physically harmed, then it's murder. And just for instance, so let's say a woman is at a bar and a drunk guy comes up to her and tries to tear her clothes off, right? Reasonable response, basically she could kick him in the balls, right? But the minute he's on the ground, if she does anything to him after that, that's no longer self-defense because the threat has been diminished the minute the drunk hits the ground.
Oh, Jesus.
Right? So even if she tries to I don't know, kick him and stuff like that to get like a running start to get away from it, the minute she does anything else to him to try and keep him on the ground longer so she could escape, that's no longer self-defense.
This is such bullshit.
It is absolute bullshit. I mean, I thought the tax laws were bad, but when I saw this, I was like, holy crap, it's absolutely, and even Sargon of Akkad, Carl Benjamin, big fan of Sargon of Akkad. I posted the same, well, not me, but he posted this article in the liberalist group, and everybody's like, the man has done nothing wrong, this, that, and the other, and they do not understand the law, that this is the insanity that we're dealing with in the UK. So we've already seen the nonsense with Count Dankula in context, and
that's why I was bringing up the court deciding on context.
Correct.
Because they decided the context of his video when he knew the context.
Correct. And they can decide the context of your supposed self-defense. And it's not a strong
in anything.
Yeah, if content is king, context is God, right? Mm-hmm. The ultimate truth of everything is context. So the courts in the UK can basically decide the context of your self-defense. And it's a very, very slippery slope. And we've seen grandmothers who've, to avoid people stealing their purse, they whack the guy with the purse and get arrested for assault. Because
so from what I saw in the article, he did actually get out, right?
I don't think they're going to indict him. He was charged. He was arrested. Now everybody could be arrested. Popes, kings, priests, everybody's been arrested. Being arrested is not a big deal. But being indicted is what matters. And I don't believe the jury is going to indict.
Yeah.
I don't actually think it's going to go to court and stuff like that. But this is the law that we're dealing with in the UK, and it's pretty frightening.
And yeah, so I'll be posting the article in the description so people can kind of look at it. And you said you'll be doing some videos on it, so that'll be cool.
I might just take this clip from the video and put it out because it's just easier
it's
to
good.
go around.
Yeah, freaking self-defense.
It's important. Property rights and the ability to defend your property, I believe, is a fundamental, inalienable right.
Well, like property.